Welcome back, my horde. So I guess we'll just kind of pick up with D&D again. It's kind of what going back to hobbies. It's what a lot of us do a lot over the years. Have you ever played a barbarian, Chris?
I don't think so.
To be fair, I don't want to be rude, but
I've played very little, very few classes. I've played
a lot.
Bard. I've played Fighter quite a bit.
Look, a stupid amount. We'll get into that one in a bit.
So this is my first time playing a monk.
Well, we'll get to each class. Tammy, have you ever played a barbarian?
Maybe
not really?
Once or twice.
So not really.
Really.
You know, I used to play like my go-to it was for a long period of time a half-orc, chaotic, good barbarian. So it was just the damage dealing of the group. Because I found a lot of the times that when we played, Tammy always wanted to be the healer, so she was always a cleric. Other than that, everyone else was picking like the middle classes. And by the middle classes, I'm talking about like Bard or Druid. Where at first they're relatively kind of useless. Like, no offense to anyone that loves those classes, but
it's not until a little later that
at level 1 they're very, very, very much kind of useless.
Or rogues. People used to play rogues all the time too, and they used to be very useless at the beginning levels. For combat, you unless you're really flanking.
Well, yeah. If you're not flanking, rogues can be pretty damn useless right at the start.
And not just that, but also a lot of people that we used to play with, a lot of them used to play small characters, which already puts a damper on damage. So that's why I used to play a hulking barbarian.
You were going for the DP damage per turn
and a tank all in the same go.
Yeah.
I have played a bard before. I'm actually pretty sure my one bard that I played. Actually, I think I played two bards, but nonetheless, the one bard that I played actually used to run with Tammy's one character, and we used to be called Magic. The reason we used to call it Magic is because what I would do is I would be a street performer. I think I was a gnome or a halfling. I can't remember which one I was. Tammy was the other one.
I was the halfling.
Okay, so I was a gnome. And I would basically be a street performer where I'd actually do juggling and illusions and stuff like that. And then basically I'd hand them a card, for example, and tell them to put it in their back pocket. And then what would happen is Tammy, who was a rogue, would literally walk up and pickpocket them, the card, sneak up behind me and put the card back in my back pocket. So then when I pull out the card, I'd be like, magic. And that's all I did. I'd do the jazz hands and go, magic.
Yeah, no.
And we did it constantly. My nephew was playing with us when we were doing that. Because it was actually the characters I made do that. And I would constantly do stuff like that with my nephew where I would make the roll, Tammy would see me make the roll, she would make the roll, and all that stuff. And then afterwards he'd be like, where's my backpack? I'd be like, magic.
I can.
Yeah. The other bard I made, I think was very similar to your daughter's, Chris's daughter's bard, which is basically a bard that's not really a bard. It literally has the inspirational, but it stabs motherfuckers.
A song sword?
That was the cool, when she did that, and I think, because I was there when they were running through, because we played at one point. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us, and then Chris being the GM. Pretty sure there was 7 of us, and Chris was the GM. And when we first started.
Yep, 7 players and me.
With each of them, they were going through the exact same dungeon at the beginning. All 3 of us went through the exact same dungeon, but it was actually me and Tammy were one group, Jay and another guy was one group, and it was Chris's wife, Chris's daughter, and one of Chris's friends as another group. Because 2 of the 3 of them were new at the game. So we wanted to make sure that they were grouped up.
Just my daughter was new.
I'm pretty sure the other one was semi-new to the game, because
she's played before.
Because she had a lot of questions. So, nonetheless,
Anyway, yeah.
the idea was the fact that it would give them a chance to, if they made mistakes, there would be more of them. And his daughter played a bard who basically just carried around a longsword. Did inspirational songs occasionally by singing or dancing with her sword, but would stab people. I'm like, that is awesome. And it really reminded me of one of the characters I made, which is basically very similar. It was just a long sword wielding, but they would sing during combat.
Yeah, no, bards can really go two ways that I found. And the unfortunate part is most of them tend to go the diplomatic route versus the I'm going to use the bardic abilities to augment I'm stabbing you to death.
Whenever I made a bard, it was mostly because they were the class that could use whips, and so I used whip.
Well, see,
because I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, see, with me, I went with the reason I went with singing is because if you're going with any of the things, a bard needs to be seen or heard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be seen dancing if you're behind everyone.
Yeah.
Or to the side of everyone.
Yeah.
And if you're doing the musical, if you're playing a lute, you cannot stab anyone. Yeah. Unless you have like one of those special lutes that has like a little knife. You stab the guy, put your lute thing, and keep stringing. It's kind of just not that great. So that's why I went with singing, because then you can still stab someone and like sing a war song.
Yeah.
Using your idea, I always went whistling for my performance skill for whenever on the few occasions I did play a bard. Mainly because I was thinking, prolong. Because as soon as you stop using the inspiration, at least on the way I understand it, it's that inspiration's done, and you only have so many of those per day. So I went with whistling because I can continue whistling a lot longer than I can sing. And, well, if you're using it on like a march between cities or whatever, you'd want something that you can keep going for a long while. Or if we're going through a dungeon delve or something like that. And then you just take silent spell and you don't have to worry about any of it.
See, I don't think that actually works, to be fair. I think the concept is that...
With the bardic music?
Yeah.
No, I can't see that working.
I don't think it's actually supposed to work because the fact that it's not actually magic. It is actually a moral thing.
No. I'm talking the inspiration, and I was talking the actual spell casting class.
Well, the casting stuff you can do, but
yeah,
to actually...
It's so that I could keep up the bardic inspiration and still be able to cast normal spells.
Fine. That's yes.
That's where the silent spell came in, is because then it allowed me to cast normal spells without having to use the verbal components.
Yeah, no, that's...
Because then I'm not interrupting my bardic inspiration and thus losing the effect.
Yeah. I also know that you can actually do as a thing, you can actually do theoretically stand-up. So theoretically, you could actually tell jokes to your teammates to give them the bardic inspiration. So argumentatively, you could make puns as the character's inspirational thing.
That would have every single last enemy within earshot of me trying to kill me immediately.
But yeah, theoretically...
Including your party members.
Yeah,
I know, including my party.
Theoretically, you could actually do that without a problem.
Oh, I know. I don't think anybody would let me live long enough.
I think it's hilarious.
But I could. I don't know.
You know when the joke about the 300 where the guy's like, they have so many arrows it's gonna block out the sun. They won't fight in the shade. That would be your inspirational thing.
Yep.
So, note to self, if Jay makes a bard that does puns as his thing, then I have to play the cleric.
To heal him.
To ensure that he lives.
So the next one is the cleric.
I don't think I've ever played a cleric. If I have, it would have been once.
I've played cleric. I've actually played cleric in Greyhawk.
That's my wheelhouse. That's where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have at least one memorable cleric.
I don't know. Have I ever played a cleric?
Probably. I'm pretty sure you've played everything.
Dude, I'm playing a cleric with the twins.
Yeah, I guess so.
My typical cleric is more combat. Basically a combat medic.
Yeah.
It's my cleric is up front in the front lines, even though that's not where they're supposed to be.
See, that's the thing. It's the fact that how me and Tammy both play it is exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, heavy armored tank. I'm up in the front lines, beating
That's
the
the
crap
great thing
out
about
of
clerics
people.
is they can be front
And
line.
I'm keeping an eye on my party members, and when I see one of them starting to get low, that's when I'm backing off, going in full defensive, and healing them, and then getting back to beating somebody's head in.
Tammy used to play dwarf clerics because Tammy's argument was the fact that if I wear heavy armor, I should not be hindered because dwarfs do not get hindered by overburdenedness. So I could wear my heavy armor up to my decks, of course, and I shouldn't be hindered. So she'd just basically be a
and I have to drag my team member back?
Yeah. Not hindered by weight, by movement speed. Because I just...
that's a valid tactic.
It wasn't my favorite one to do. I always... My favorite race to play is gnomes, because, well...
And the other thing is the fact that playing a gnome cleric, if you're... gnomes are really... again, going with the concept of people that we played with over the years, I've known that they play bards... they'll play a gnome or a halfling, and they'll either pick a bard, a druid, or a rogue. And all three of them, except for the rogue's great for sneaking, because of being a halfling. But other than that, you start running into the problem, again, that you're using, weapons that are doing a die so much lower that you're outputting no damage. And with a lot of the time that we've been playing, we've also been playing with people who, GMs, who are like, okay, well, you get 3 14s, 2 16s, and an 18. So by the end of it, they have 12 strength. So they do a D4 damage or a D3 damage plus 1. So, you'll get, 2 damage out of maximum. Or, sorry, not maximum, 2 to 4 damage from one of these guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the ones that we played. Literally, one of the characters who was playing a gnome druid could not damage the thing we were fighting because its DR was too high.
Yeah. Whenever I've played, since we're on the topic of clerics, whenever I've played cleric, it's always been a human. But it's because the extra feet that they get...
Oh, don't even get me started on the extra feet thing. Somebody in our group of 4 here likes making feet whores.
Human fighter.
And if you don't know who the feet whore is, it's the one that said human fighter first.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but the only reason why I wanted that is because I set it up so that my clerics could wear full plate. Because my clerics were not dex-based clerics.
It's fine. Why would you need the extra feet?
No, it was for tower shield.
Oh, okay. So you could have taken it with your normal one. So
yeah, it's because I wanted to be able to use the tower shield, because when you go full defensive, you get 100% cover. And that's what enabled me to stay safe when healing other people.
Reach spell.
Yeah, I
can cast a touch spell at 30 feet.
I've never... I really, really, really don't play casters all that often.
And that's, again, my wheelhouse.
I'm
playing caster?
Even as a cleric, the only time I really healed anybody, or the only magic I was really using was a couple of buffs on people and my healing spells. I always kept my healing spells in reserve in case somebody needed them.
When I get to level... with the twins, when I get to level 3... I'll be casting so many more spells.
So many more.
So many more. The reason for it is the fact that I will get Quicken Spell. So I can cast a spell and attack. Because I can do that, I'm going to be casting a spell almost every freaking turn. When we're in battle. I would have cast a couple more spells on the hag, but... Even though I don't know it's a hag, but nonetheless... next one was Druid.
I think I've played Druid twice, but I really don't remember too much about that particular campaign. So
once,
I can't really comment on that character class. I think for Druid, for one of the things that they're not inability to use metal armors. Makes sense lore-wise, but is really debilitating to them early on.
An interesting story is, yes, if you have the money, however, it gets bypassed immediately. I know that that's later on stuff, but
Iron Oak or
An
whatever.
elf. If you actually, the Races of the Wild book actually has like a bunch of armor in there that's all like made of like bark or like leaves and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
And
I
it's
think
just-
there's one called Moon Ivy.
It's stupidly awesome. Like you get any of that armor and it's immediately a game changer.
Yeah. No,
And-
it's like I said, it makes sense for the lore wise.
And I
but
think
until
the
you
other thing
get
is the fact that
the funds.
I think
available.
I think I want to actually play a druid at one point. Maybe even with us, we'll figure it out. Maybe where I want to have like bone weapons that were actually like crafted better, so they don't lose a dice. Like so, it's magically crafted, but they're made of bone. Like so, even like maybe like
I
a
can
like
idly think of a couple of different ways to pull that off.
because then you can have like bone weapons, like a long sword, for example, that's a bone weapon. Where like you can actually like stab people and it can do the same amount of damage that bone weapon or a long sword would do, but it's made of bone, so you can actually carry it around versus you couldn't carry around before.
No, I can understand that. That'd definitely be a interesting thing.
And then like having the animal companion is awesome. I know that I'm pretty sure, like I'm 90% sure, that it is one of Chris's wife's favorite classes.
The
Yes.
druid?
Druid and Rogue, yeah.
Druid primary from everything I remember.
Which is fine. It's just the fact that, again, it falls into the trope that they pick a small character, which is perfectly fine. But then you lose the strength, and because, again, going with the concept, the GMs usually give us, like, the 14s, because they lose the strength bonus to get to a 12, because you can't use a lot of weapons, you're already down to, like, a D4 or a D3 weapon, because you're using either a scimitar, which I believe is a D6 normally, so a D4 for a small person, or a dagger, which is a D3 now, and you're doing like 2 to 4, 2 to 2 to 5 damage.
Yeah.
And it's just when you have something that has a DR of 5, you're doing nothing. When you have something that has a health of 24, you literally have to max out hit him 5 times to kill him. Where a lot of the other creatures that you're getting attacked by are doing like a D8 plus 3.
Yeah.
So their minimum is almost your maximum.
Yeah.
And that's why a
It's-
lot of the times with small creatures, whenever I play them, I either go with all 18s to at least give myself the benefit there, or I stick to magic classes where my
Your
size...
size doesn't matter
Yeah.
with shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that aspect of things.
And yeah, I rarely ever pick a druid, but I actually did want to make a druid at one point that actually had a really interesting, unique mount. I can't remember what the mount was now. I remember bringing it up to somebody, and that person telling me no about 12 times.
Well, hey, maybe after the twins, we can just do.
I'm pretty sure it was Chris, to be fair. And I don't think it was actually a druid. I think it was actually my paladin. I wanted a special mount for my paladin.
No.
And he kept telling me no, and then finally gave it to me anyway.
Well, by the time that freaking campaign ended, it was just...
I'm pretty sure it was a Sphinx kind of thing. Like, it was like, part this, part that.
Chimera creature.
Yeah, it was part lion, part... Anyway, moving on. So the druid, so the next one would be... Oh, what was after druid?
Ranger?
No, that's way too far. Huh?
It's a
Fighter?
Fighter.
Yeah,
The
ABCD,
feet
EF.
horse.
Yeah, Chris played a lot of those.
I did.
Human fighters is what he picked a lot. I actually, at one point, literally told him that if he makes a human fighter for this campaign, I'm going to kill him. So he made a...
Orc fighter.
No, he never made orcs a
I
lot.
think this is my first time playing an orc.
It was a minotaur. I think it was, something like that. No, not minotaur. What is it? Troll. It was a troll. It was definitely a troll. It was a troll fighter. The reason I don't remember that is because it actually would regenerate.
Yep.
It's how I actually almost killed him once, and he lived. I literally critted him. He came down to 2 health. He regenerated. I hit him down to 1 health. He regenerated, and Tammy killed him. That's literally how he survived that campaign.
No, it's fighters are. They are It's been said numerous times, but they're the feed horse.
Yeah.
They're the guys that they're the strongest when they only pick one or two weapons, and they go all in. At that point in time, they can do some pretty freaking retarded
I
shit.
think at one point, monkey grip is a huge thing that I would go with.
Yep.
Monkey grip, great sword.
Yep.
Or full blade.
That's the one I would go with. Is
The full blade, according to like the read up and stuff like that, you actually are supposed to have two hands on it at all times because of the way that the blade is supposed to be used to attack.
So
I remember us reading that's what it's supposed to be. So when you do that, you would actually be taking a full blade and using it still two-handed. So you'd be using a huge full blade two-handed. Where I'm talking about using a great sword one-handed. It's basically just using it as a long sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. But monkey grip is a game changer when you get
It's actually one of the funny things. I had a character once who was, it was a gnome. He was only proficient with long swords. So I went, well, I want a great sword, but I can't get a great sword. I'm not proficient with it. Well, that's fine. So I grabbed a human's longsword. It's still classified as a longsword. Despite the fact that it was doing equivalent of great sword damage for my gnome.
Yeah, it'd still be classified as a longsword. All the principles would still match. I have to admit, I never thought of using that workaround.
The thing is the fact that I think it's a D8 for a great sword for a
okay.
No.
Like a small greatsword?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to double check while we're talking because I have the book right here. But I'm pretty sure that's what the case was. Great sword is a D10 for a small creature.
Okay.
So it would be a D8 instead of a D10. You know?
Yeah.
But it was still the concept that I was doing more than a D6 of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I was just treating it like a great sword, but it was still a long sword. It was hilarious. And like the fact that because I did that, I was taking long sword proficiencies, like, you know, weapon focused long sword. But I'm
weapon specialization.
Yeah. But the thing is the fact that I'm carrying around a human sword and holding it two-handed.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that I was doing at one point. And like I remember doing that like where I would pick like a gnome, because that was one of the things I wanted to try. Is like I took a gnome and literally made it into a fighter, and it was outputting more damage than the actual like human was. Just because the fact that when I put the skills in there and stuff like that, it was just all these weird bonuses to this thing.
Fighters, if hyper-focused, are stupid the amount of damage they can output.
So, you ever play a fighter? Not really. You don't really play much, to be fair. You played a lot of clerics.
Yeah, or other spellcasters.
More recently, too. But anyway, the next one would be...
Paladin.
I'm a monk, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It'd be monk.
Like I said, this is my first time playing a monk as the twins.
Yeah, I've played a few monks, and the wisdom bonus they get, if the stats are set up right, can set them up well. But by the same factor is, they can be glass cannons when they're low level.
Yes.
Because they can get just curb stomped. It's one of the things that's pretty much a prerequisite for a monk is a monk's belt. Just to try to help them out a little bit and be able to survive a little bit longer.
See, I've never got myself a monk's belt, but I remember one campaign that we were playing in, more recently you were playing a monk, and I was like, just stay behind me, man. Like, don't take things on, let me take them on, then you can take them on, like, you know, as in like a flanking thing. But don't just go and run after the big guy. He kept running after the big guy. I'm like, dude, you're going to get yourself killed. We have to keep rescuing you. But I think the problem with that campaign was honestly the fact that at one
That was a
point...
shitty jam.
Well, I'm not going to say that. That's not where I was going.
I am.
I think, honestly, the big problem with that one was the fact that me and Tammy had built our characters pretty freaking to point. And with that, because we were putting ourselves in such a great position, everyone else kind of felt like they weren't being able to do too much.
It's you guys that hyper focused and specialized, and where everybody else kind of went more general, and we realized that we couldn't really keep up.
So you guys were putting a little bit more risks out there. Plus, it didn't help that me and one of the other the players, occasionally had disagreements. We'll put it.
Yeah, let's not get into that. Monks, they are fun. They can be extremely fun, and they can be extremely potent damage dealers. They're a more mid-range fighter. So it really depends on what weapons you want to use.
Well, again, with me, I've always just used my fists or my kicks.
Yeah.
I never have gone with anything else. Speaking of which, I think that your character, your monk, maybe we'll eventually get a spiked boot.
Maybe.
Because that would be pretty cool to start kicking people.
Yep.
Because I know at one point, the GM was like, you roundhouse kick the person. I'm like, no, he doesn't.
Yeah.
We're going to pretend like, we're that didn't happen because I know that both of us would, you just keep punching.
Yep.
But you were like, you roundhouse kicked him. And I'm like,
Well,
he would do less damage roundhouse kicking, so he just punch. But you could theoretically start roundhouse kicking people if you did that. You could also start getting like knee ones.
Yeah.
And you could just knee people and just
do
elbows.
elbows.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So you
I
walk
had a
around.
monk that actually did capoeira. Or not capoeira. Muay Thai. That's the
Muay
one.
Thai?
Yeah.
But you could actually start going down that route.
Yeah.
Where you actually literally have spikes in all your key spots, and you're just start smashing people with elbows, because theoretically, as a monk, all that is classified the same damage.
Yep.
So, adding the spikes would then put them all at the exact same damage again.
Yep.
And then you just start.
It's, for that description of the roundhouse kick, it was just simply flavor.
No, I know.
That's all it was.
But the concept is we're never just going to ignore that because less damage. But yeah. So
I was just ignoring it because no, I didn't.
Yeah, I know. But nonetheless, yeah. If you haven't grasped it, Jay is a monk whore. He plays a lot of monks. He used to play them a lot. Let's go with that.
No.
You did play them a lot, you said at one point.
Lately I've been playing monks a lot, but that's not the primary class that I usually played.
No,
the
but
primary class I usually played hasn't come up yet.
No, but you did still play, if you want to go for it, your secondary.
I will agree my monk is definitely my secondary, with the tertiary being cleric.
But the next one is the paladin?
Yep.
I played an overpowered paladin.
Uh-huh.
I loved him. I still love him.
Yeah, I know you do.
I played a paladin that saved Chris's butt.
Yes.
Did you? I don't remember that.
That was with the troll or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, okay.
Or did you want to become a were-rat?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
He got bit, and he actually got a disease that was actually turning him into a were-rat. Or no, it wasn't that. It was actually, you guys went around a corner. You were had low health. It was that same campaign. Maybe you weren't a troll, but nonetheless, the same campaign that I'm thinking of, where Tammy was playing that. You guys were walking down, and you had 2 health.
Well, that's the one that you were running, right?
Yeah.
The module?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And Tammy's I guess I'll go first. And Tammy little corner, and this thing jumped down and attacked Tammy, and Tammy killed it. And I told Tammy to roll for it, and Tammy basically succeeded on her, disease, but you would never have succeeded.
Yeah. No, I remember that now.
But yeah, my main one that I played was with you guys, the paladin.
I played one. I think I've only played one once, and that was when I attempted to play Greyhawk. Did not like Greyhawk.
Yeah, I always thought the paladin code and the class itself was too restrictive for me to really be too
That was my biggest
interested
thing.
in it. So
I don't know. I've never had a problem with the restrictions of it. My biggest gripe about any of the classes is the fact that the cleric and the sorcerer and the... I remember another class where we talked about this the other day. They only get 1 feat. The one trait.
Yeah.
They get no other trait throughout their entire freaking level 20. They do not get another trait. They get no bonus feats. They get no freaking weird abilities. Nothing. The cleric gets turn and rebuke undead at level 1. Never gets another ability. The sorcerer gets a summon companion at level 1. Never gets another ability. Every other class gets something.
Fighters get extra feats.
They've even updated it where the wizard now has summon familiar,
And then
they had
feats.
scribe scroll, and that was their other thing at level 1. And then they've updated it so that it has bonus feats every like 4th or 5th level.
Yeah, and it's weird that, and like people are like, well, it's, some people could argue that it's because the sorcerer, gets all their spells. Like they get their spells differently. But the consequence is that the way that the wizard's written down, some people can interpret it one of two ways. If you interpret it the second way, wizards get broken. Because I can cast any spell I want from my book, and I have all spells.
Yep.
Yeah, I know you're supposed to study your book while to prep your spell list, and then you're casting your spell list. You're not supposed to be able to just cast from your book.
But it says you can.
Yeah. You technically can cast from your book. You'd have to do like a combat. It's best if you had combat casting because it helps your concentration score. You'd have to roll your concentration score to ensure if you got struck, then that you could still do the spell, and it would take your full round, to do it.
Which most spells do anyway.
Some of them don't, such as like Featherfall. It
It
can
only
be done
takes
as like a reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair
But
enough.
Yeah, I can't see you pulling out your book, flipping through it while falling down a cliff going,
That's
come
why
on, come on.
that's
This
why
is
I'm
good
in
stuff, come on.
I was gonna say that's
Where
why
you take
Manira
your
is so
splat?
broken because she has her.
Well, like I said,
Vigilance
that's one of the
bonus.
things is like,
High enough intelligence.
If
You know
you're-
all
if-
spells.
If you're playing
no.
cast.
As a wizard, you actually know all spells. It's supposed to be in your book. All spells are in your book.
well, it's you learn a certain amount of spells as you level up.
It never says you learn them.
But what it is, the real part where the broken part comes in, is you can buy scrolls from shops or whatever,
And describe
and
it into
then
your book.
just put them
Yeah.
in your.
But
Then,
no,
then
it
just
actually-
translate them into your book, and you've got
When
them.
me and Tammy were reading it the other day, because I was actually trying to figure out if sorcerer would be better for her character or wizard, it actually does state that the wizards, that they don't get any extra ones unless it says it like in fine print somewhere. They never get where a sorcerer at level 1 he's got 5. That's how many he knows. He knows 5. A sorcerer knows 5. Plus, his charisma modifier if you're on with that. A wizard, it never has that chart. It is the fact that he knows all of his spells.
Yeah.
It is supposed to be in his book. Now, again, it could be in fine print where it says, you're supposed to, learn them. But, again, like you just said, you can literally go to a store.
Yep.
Buy the scroll it to your thing, and then sell the scroll back.
No,
Why couldn't you?
Because
it's-
once you
it's
translate it over to
specified-
your spell, or once you translate it over to your book, that spell's gone from the scroll.
But why?
It
Hold on.
actually
using it up.
it actually specifies that when
But you're not. But the thing is that then you can just scribe spell.
Yeah.
Back onto the thing and sell it.
That
So
you can do.
therefore, you can just sell it. You get that as a bonus feat. So argumentatively, you can literally
I don't understand.
not just that, but then could you not then argumentatively make billions of dollars as a wizard?
Even as a sorcerer, you can make billions of dollars easy.
You don't get scribe scroll.
Don't need it.
Okay, why do you not need it?
The only thing you need is for a sorcerer or a wizard is a single feat. Craft magic.
No, because you need two. You need two then. Because you actually need to. Because you can. I think you can put the magical abilities onto a thing, but you would actually, I think, to craft the magical item, you need the other one. So you still have to buy the item. But it's supposed to that's supposed to take experience from you. A lot of experience from you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The item we're talking about
Mhm.
is you have a burning torch.
Yeah,
I've looked at it. It takes like 1 or 2 experience points to make it, 20 gold worth of ruby dust, and it's something that sells for 110 gold.
See, that's
Like,
the thing is the fact that when I was reading it, it actually was like it takes 100 experience.
So when you, at least when you're scribing a scroll, it's it takes a day. You can create a scroll of any spell that you know. Scribing a scroll takes 1 day for each 1,000 gold coins in its base price. The base price of a scroll is its spell level times its caster level times 25 gold. To scribe a scroll, you must spend 1/25 of this base price in XP and use up raw materials costing 1/2 of this base price. Any scroll that stores a spell with a costly material component or an XP cost also carries a commensurate cost in addition to the cost derived from the base price. You must expend the material component or pay the XP when scribing the scroll.
For the record, no, I didn't understand that either. Because it starts getting into dribble, which is like repeating itself and all that shit stuff.
Equals to it's hella expensive and annoying. Because if you want to make a really good spell, like a level 8, it's expensive.
It's expensive and it's going to cost you experience.
But what I don't understand is when you transcribe it from scroll to spellbook, and then you read it out of your spellbook.
Yeah, it doesn't disappear.
Doesn't disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, hey.
Scrolls are a one-time business, but why? I don't know.
But the thing is the fact that, the other weird part is the fact that, like, my argument, which is why I'm pretty sure Tammy's on the same page with me, is the fact that when you're doing it from the scroll to your book, you're not actually using that spell. You're copying the spell. You're not casting it.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, why does it disappear? And then the concept is the fact that when it's in your book, it stays there permanently. So how do you change it? That you can't then just cast it permanently from the scroll. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know...
Mm-hmm.
It's the concept that those parts don't make sense.
I completely understand where you're coming from, but nobody ever said 3.5 made a lot of sense in some things. So
also, I think we're actually over time. Dams? Who's supposed to be in charge of this, by the way? Oh, we're not that much over time, but still we're over time.
Me.
Okay. Tammy is the closest to the phone because she's the most quiet, so she's actually supposed to be near the phone. I'm also the farthest away from the phone because I'm the loudest motherfucker in this room. Honestly, you and Jay should be switched half the time because the concept that, you know, you're louder than him half the time, but then sometimes he talks really loud and it picks it up really well. You know the great thing about Jay and his voice. But anyway. No! We're ending the video. You can't join now. Until next time, I hoard. We'll probably do the next video without Tammy, when we just randomly start talking about more the D&D stuff. So, pick a barbarian.